The record against Arsenal at the Etihad is unbelievable. Against Arsenal, I think Arsenal go into these kind of games with an underdog mentality, but you still lack world-class players.
But we've not gone 2024 undefeated away from home. 9 wins or 10 wins, 1 draw, 3 goals conceded, to not have the respect to go to a ground like this and get a win.
I'm only trying to wind you up in the sense that I think Arsenal fans have to go into this game thinking, we've got to win.
We're not falling for debate. We're not falling for debate. You know, I've seen Man City fans have been trying to be very clever here, trying to bait us into this, right? We're not stupid, we're not naive. This is what Arteta won't do either, fall into debate. Yeah, well, this guy was in the PFA team of the year, Declan Rice, you know, as that position, by the way. And let's not forget, Pep was willing to spend nearly £100 million on that guy. What, to hold his hand?
That wasn't a real transfer bid.
Oh, so it wasn't? Oh, so you got resources.
We went for Harry Maguire and it coaxed Man United to spend 80 mil on him.
Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, and welcome to Superfan Debate, the face-off. I've got a representative from Manchester City to the right. I've got a representative of Arsenal to the left. It's the big one this Sunday, 4:30 at the Etihad, and there's some things to discuss. So make sure you've hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and let me introduce the reps. And starting with the home team, I say home team, the home team on Sunday, but on away grounds today on AFTV. Big up Boovy. Not the first time you've been on the channel.
No, it's good to see you lads. Obviously got double the Arsenal representation. I'm by myself, so you have to be nice to me, mate.
I'm just host duty today.
Yeah,
just host duty.
That's fine, that's fine.
I'm playing the neutral role. And I don't think we're going to need to double up anyway, because to my left, the infamous.
The infamous?
Yeah, the infamous.
I'll
Well,
take
the infamous on Twitter, Babs in the building.
Well, he's not here today. This is Babs on YouTube today.
This is you.
It's a different person. We're trying to keep it sensible.
Welcome to Babs as well. Obviously not your first time on the channel.
No, it's nice to be here, and I think it'll be a competitive battle. Looking forward to it.
Alright, cool. Let's get straight into it. No point wasting any time. It's the big one. Last season, both clubs went up to game week 38, and City got the job done, as they have done many times over the last 8 years or so. And Arsenal are the favourites to challenge again, to challenge the throne again, to challenge Pep Guardiola again, many people's greatest of all time. And I've taken a few comments from both of you beforehand, and I've based these questions on those comments, predictions, thoughts. And I'm going to start again with the home team. Boovy, why are Manchester City going to win this Sunday at the Etihad?
The record against Arsenal at the Etihad is unbelievable. Against Arsenal, I think Arsenal go into these kind of games with an underdog mentality, and that's with all due respect. City used to be underdogs in these kind of games. That was 20 years ago. I think Arsenal go into these kind of games very similar to the Bayern Munich game last season in the Champions League. I know Arsenal beat us at the Emirates, obviously, last season with a deflected goal that you guys obviously made multiple documentaries about and made DVDs about, so I get that. But this game, I still haven't seen enough where you're not going to just go into this game a bit like Inter Milan did and just pray for a 0-0. I've not seen enough to change my mind. Obviously, you've got the injury to Odegaard. I don't blame you on some level, but you still lack world-class players. And I think Arsenal fans and this Arsenal side deserved a little bit more in the transfer market to be able to go to Man City and say, we're not just going to go and nick a draw or be smart or be cute about it. We're going to try and take 3 points from Man City.
Good case put forward. Bavs, same question to you, but before I ask that same question, I guess it wasn't a surprise. Boovy, Man City fan, the home team, won how many titles? He's predicting a City win this Sunday.
Of course.
But you're predicting an Arsenal win this Sunday. So tell me, why are Arsenal going to win this game?
I've not seen... First things first, I respect the Etihad. We know how hard it is there. So I'm not going to come out and say City are a little team, and we know how hard it's going to be. It's going to be competitive. But we've not gone 2024 undefeated away from home. 9 wins or 10 wins, 1 draw, 3 goals conceded, to not have the respect to go to a ground like this and get a win. I think that's what we need now. We've been to Villa Park, we've done our job there, Spurs away, we've done it twice, we've even obviously drawn at the Etihad as well. But to go and get a win now, every under Arteta, what we've seen is Arsenal go up another level. Test that we couldn't pass last year, we pass. Even this year, for example, Villa Park, last year we struggled, this year we go and win it, right? So I think this time going to the Etihad with our away form, the goals that we don't concede, our defence, and the fact that Mikel Arteta is willing to be pragmatic as well. And I think, look, going gun to go with City at the Etihad will be naive, right? So being more pragmatic, going for your own approach and playing for a result that way with how solid our defence is, knowing that we can deal with Haaland in the past. We've done it in the past. We've seen Saliba and Gabriel. Now we've got Timber as well. So the defence has got even better. You got Calafiori as well, and off the bench, last year the issue was we didn't have much pace. I think Saka wasn't available, Martinelli wasn't available away from home. Well, now you got Raheem Sterling. You know about Sterling. He's a very fast player. He's played the Etihad before. He scored last year as well. I think twice against you guys. So we've got that counter-attacking threat, and with that game plan there, I'm believing in my side because look, they've given me no reason to doubt them this calendar year.
Pragmatic movie. Many looked at the draw at the Etihad last year as the stumbling block to finishing second at the end of the season. Babs has mentioned the word pragmatic, and we've seen this season Arteta even more so relying upon the defensive organisation and structure. What do you make of it? Your title rivals coming to be pragmatic, to come set up shop to take the point, which historically was often looked at as a good point, but somehow in the last 6 to 12 months it's turned around to...
I think pragmatic. Arteta's a fashionable manager, Spanish, kind of got this quality going on as a young progressive manager. We use the word pragmatic. I think if Neil Warnock was in the room, we call it park the bus. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
and the issue is there's no excuse not to do that, because you don't have the quality, like you said, to go toe to toe. But it is parking the bus. Inter Milan, I tweeted it saying that Inzaghi did unbelievable in terms of getting his side counter attacking. They had great chances. Inter Milan. There are points they had 8 6 foot Italian guys in a row blocking the ball from going in the net, and that's what Arsenal did last season. And I think it's massive for Arsenal. We're doing this preview. Really, we should be talking about Arsenal trying to win the game. There's no other result really for Arsenal, in my opinion. For the last 25 years Premier League history, you have to go away and beat your Premier League title rival. Guardiola did it in his second season against Conte at Stamford Bridge.
What about Klopp at the Anfield?
Yeah, but Klopp beat City so many times in the Champions League, smashed us in the Champions League, smashed us at Anfield. It was embarrassing at points how much they smashed us. They had the experience, then beat us in the Champions League, beat us in the Premier League, obviously with 99 points. There's so many examples in Premier League history. You have to go and take. Arsenal did it with Arsene Wenger so many times at Old Trafford. Big wins in the late 90s and the early 2000s. It has to be a win on Sunday.
I don't think it has to be. I think the pressure's more on City. You're the home side. You're 4-time Premier League winners in a row, right? So with that home record as well, we're coming to your ground. Of course, you got to be favourites and you got to go for it. We can go out there and take a result, take a draw, because we still got the Emirates to come for. The home game is the must-win game for me. The Etihad away, we can get a result. It's a must-not-lose game, in my opinion. I still think Arsenal are going to win. But the whole park the bus stuff, listen, we've seen the biggest club in world football go to the Etihad and park the bus and get to a Champions League final. So it's about not being naive. Why do we have to play to your strengths? Of course you want us to come onto you so you got more space to counter attack. We want to get a result, and that way there, if we have to be pragmatic, I think people get confused about Arsenal only because we can defend well doesn't mean we're defensive. Against Spurs at times as well, we were aggressive in our press. We got a press when we press teams like Man City, Spurs, whoever, we can cause issues as well. So it's just about being clever, picking your moments, and if it works in your games, look, last week we got 89 points playing that way. If you can get a few more points this year, get up to 95 playing that style of football, then I'm not concerned about it.
God, 95 is a big number when you drop 2 points to Brighton already. Going back to your point, the reason is this isn't Stoke City, this isn't Leicester City. So many Arsenal fans that I chat to, some of my mates, they address Arsenal as if you're Leicester City, as if you're trying to do 5,000 to 1 to win the Premier League. You're the biggest institution arguably in London in terms of football, the capital city of England. Do you know what I mean? And the way you've addressed it, I think you're right, and it's not your fault because you don't manage the finances at Arsenal, of course not. But how are we sitting there saying Arsenal going to Man City? I know there's a gulf, there's a lot of money, but you spent a lot of money as well, and you're sort of talking about yourselves as such underdogs. It's crazy to me. You should have 4 or 5 world-class players, a Pires, a Lundberg. You should be talking about a Dennis Bergkamp type player in our modern generation going up there and competing. And you got Chelsea loan reject in Raheem Sterling. It's just like...
Yeah, but he's a bench player for Arsenal. We're not talking about a starter, right? And look, every side has mental blocks, and you guys should know that more than anyone, because every time you go to Anfield, even when it's title rivals or non-title rivals, you always struggle. So, and you're Man City, you've won 4 titles in a row, Champions League winners. So if you struggle with that, I think going to the Etihad and playing, you got the favourites, so of course we're underdogs, right? Automatically. I don't think that's a major concern, and ultimately we just need a result. I don't care if we're favourites or underdogs. I want to go there, get 3 points, walk out, and that's about it.
Regarding pressure, Babs, you said they're under more pressure. They're the favourites, but we're under considerable pressure in this one as well. Arguably more so because of the size of the club, the noise online, the lack of a major trophy since the FA Cup. it's now time for Arsenal to show up.
Yeah, only because I believe they're under more pressure doesn't mean Arsenal aren't under any pressure. Of course, there is pressure there, but at the same time, with our away record this year and how many times we've gone away from home, got the job done, gone against the grain where we've had games where we're up against the back, our backs against the wall, we're struggling, and we find a result, set piece, a moment there and there. I think that's how we're going to beat City. We're not going to go to City and play our football and start to dominate these guys. We're going to try to do and give Haaland space as well. We're not stupid, no naive. We know how that works, by the way, right? We know we're trying to go there, nick a little moment, and we've seen Sir Alex Ferguson win how many titles this exact way. You don't have to play your dominant style of play and be naive.
Alex.
We've seen Ange Postecoglou play stubborn football all the time, and Spurs fans hate it, right? So I know Mikel Arteta can coach a dominant performance at the Emirates. We've seen it time and time again. I don't need him to prove a point to me, but I want to see us go and do something we've not done before, which is go and win at the Etihad in the Premier League title clash. I think it'll be amazing. And look, we've also got a decent record against these guys in the last season or so. 3 games, Community Shield included, 3 games undefeated,
that doesn't count.
win at the Emirates, a clean sheet at the Etihad. That's still decent. It's improving though, right? We're getting steps further and further.
Because you lost 3 in a row, obviously, the season before you bottled it, and no side ever bottled a Premier League title like that before.
At the Emirates, for example, there was a 2-1 game where I think Rodri scored the last minute winner, and we went toe to toe. We were going for it, but we got caught off, because and even the game the year before that where you beat us 2-0 at the Emirates where Grealish scored, we were going toe to toe in that game with Nketiah up front and caught us out. So be a bit clever, get a result, and I don't care what people think about our performance.
Last question not the last question on the game, but before we do keep it moving on, Boovy, you don't strike me as someone who's nervous about City's chances in general, let alone in this one coming up, because of why should you be? The history speaks for itself. How do you feel Monday morning? Arsenal win the game 2-1.
Honestly, you don't want to lose this kind of game to Arsenal, but City are in such a strong position in so many ways. The youth coming through the side, the manager, the world-class players. Honestly, there's zero pressure on City in this game, except for sporting. Guardiola will make it a sporting thing. Of course, a Guardiola side doesn't want to lose to anyone, but this is closer to playing Spurs at home, Newcastle United at home, Aston Villa at home. For Arsenal, this is like Paris 06. Do you know what I mean? It is. It's like you
Wembley,
want me
to remain unbiased, Stevie. Don't be bringing up Paris 06.
Paris. There's a world. If you actually look back at the history and the way that you've both seasons the last couple of years, you've completely thrown away the Premier League from winning positions to a way that's never been seen before in Premier League history, particularly the season before last. It was Kevin Keegan on steroids in terms of how you guys threw that title away. So this game is arguably the biggest game in Premier League history for Arsenal fans. And for City, it's just a training ground. We could lose 4-0.
Training ground game.
Yeah, it is, because we could lose 4-0 trying to play.
So I expect that reaction as well if you do lose that game, because I want to see that kind of reaction. I'll see a lot of...
I'll say, so, fair enough, you got your 3 points. Obviously, you drew the game the previous week to Brighton, so mathematically it doesn't make that much difference. But I'm only trying to wind you up in the sense that I think Arsenal fans have to go into this game thinking we've got to win.
We're not falling for debate. We're not falling for debate. I've seen Man City fans have been trying to be very clever here, trying to bait us into this, right? We're not stupid. We're not naive here. This is what Arteta won't do either. Fall into debate. We know how it works with you guys, man. Your mind games as well. We know how your manager works as well. Of course, we're Arsenal Football Club, and we're going for a win, but there's different ways of winning. But if I've seen the biggest club in world football, Real Madrid, you don't want to argue with Real Madrid, by the way, right?
Of course.
And they've played that exact style of play, and there was even reports that Carlo looked at Mikel's style of play against City to use that against City, against City in the Champions League. So then, look, if we've seen them do it, why can't we do it? Be clever, get your result, and then we can do the talking after the game.
Your philosophy isn't that. Your philosophy isn't pragmatic.
Our philosophy is to win games of football. And Mikel Arteta, let's not forget, as much as he worked under Arsene and Pep, he also worked on David Moyes. So he's got that pragmatic style there. And we're not gonna. Pep's his own manager. We want to be different to Pep as well. So if outside of players, we can play a defensive deep block at times as well.
What's
so
the
be it.
Arsenal way these days then? The Arsenal way is going up to Man City.
The Arsenal way is being the most versatile team in the league. We can be the most aggressive pressing to the best defensive as well, and that's how we do it. We're not trying to be a one way side.
This
and be stubborn.
89 points. I mean, what I mean.
Yeah, and it gets better and better. And I'd argue last year if we had, for example, played Havertz up front for the first half of the season rather than experimenting in midfield, had Partey available instead, might have got a few extra points there as well. So
that's true.
I think we're going for 90 plus this year.
That is true. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring in something now.
Let's go for it.
Combined 11 in a different format. I want to see how much you actually rate each other's teams. So I'm gonna hand one of these to you, Boovy. One of these to you, Babs. Got a pen and a cloth there. And a cloth and a pen there. We're going to go through positions. Obviously, I'll couple up the centre-backs. I'll put the midfield 3 together. We're only talking about players right now that are fit and available this Sunday. And we're going to build a combined 11 out of it.
Yep.
I want one name at a time unless it's a pairing or I'm asking for the midfield three. I'm going to start with the goalkeeper first and foremost. So who starts in a combined 11 going off this season?
That's easy.
Come on.
He said going off the season, mate.
Oh my God, man! The only thing I'd say, I'm on an Arsenal fan channel, and I've got 2 Arsenal fans with me. I respect what David Raya did against Atalanta to do a double save, a penalty save alone, but a double save.
Yeah.
He is, for me, you look at his trajectory. He is performing at a Champions League level. He is now a top level keeper. And when Alisson goes to Saudi Arabia, same with Ederson, could have happened this summer. You're looking at him as the next wave of that new generation of keepers. He's a top level keeper.
No, he is.
And he's so much better than Aaron Ramsey. I can't believe there was ever a debate last season. But honestly, mate, Ederson every day of the week, right now, still fit, still one of the best defences in Europe. He'd start for
What's
every
the best
side
defence in Europe, though?
Well, we're not going to talk about Arsenal. That's good. But we can't talk about Arsenal until you've won something. Ederson's one of the most successful keepers of a generation.
That's fair enough, man. But
Come on.
reality speaking, I think this year Raya's been the best keeper, arguably in Europe right now, you know? As a 96% save percentage. 96% of his shots he stopped, and he's making saves, by the way. He's not being asked to, like, you know, just make one save a game. But even in those games where Arsenal are required to, you know, let's just say block the shots and stuff, and he has to make one save, he's still able to make that save. He's remained concentrated. And even in his Brentford days, his last year at Brentford, I'll give you a stat here, he had more clean sheets than Ederson that year and a higher save percentage.
Who would Ancelotti take at Real Madrid?
I don't know, man. They've got Thibaut Courtois, but listen, David.
Come on.
But the reality, I think the reality is with Ederson. I think
don't throw Brentford stats here.
No, look, of course,
Brentford stats. You're an Arsenal fan.
No, but the point is, even at an inferior club, he was competing numbers-wise with Ederson, and now he's come to a superior club like Arsenal, which play a similar style of brand in terms of domination and style of play.
Honest, though. Come on.
And I think, look, Edison's got his history there, but I think in the current generation of Raya, you said it right now, it's next generation. Edison could be leaving you guys in a year's time to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but right now,
you know,
he's above you on the table.
Right now, I wouldn't stop Raya for Edison. You know, I don't think Edison's in the category of Alisson or Courtois. Not in my eyes.
I was going to ask, would you swap him at the moment?
Yeah,
You've already
he's not on that level.
Well, I don't say
right
that
now.
either, but
Edison's a
Courtois
player.
and Alisson are there, and Ederson is right there, and Raya's still got a lot to prove.
A lot to prove, though, but I see the fundamentals there, though. You know, in terms of shot stopping wise, I wouldn't say they're too dissimilar. I wouldn't say Edison's an elite shot stopper, right? Kicking wise, Edison's
world-class. He's world-class.
I wouldn't say he's a world-class shot stopper.
He's a world-class
Do you think he's a world-class shot
through
stopper?
and through. He's top 5 in the world, mate. And
Top
Raya's
5.
not top 5 in the
Right
world.
now, he kind of is. 96% of his shots are being stopped. You know, we're seeing that. And penalties as well. I think the last time Edison saved the penalty was 2020-21. A long time ago, you know. Raya's saved 4 of his last 8 penalties.
You have to respect football history. You have to respect winning trebles. You have to respect 4 in a row.
This one, I knew he was going to start off like this because I knew the angles that were going to be used, and it's not for me to decide. It's for you guys and girls in the comment section. Let us know, in your opinion. Try to take bias out because this is AFTV.
2 top players, man. 2 top players.
Let us know who starts in the combined 11. Babs has made good points. Booby's made good points. Clear your boards and let's get into the next position. All right. Let's do fullbacks together. Yeah, get your right back and left back in. While they wait, people, you have a think at home as well. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Do all of that stuff, people. Let us know what you think about this version of Superfan Debate, the face-off. Usually we have a couple more guests, representatives. Today it's a bit different.
Both fullbacks, yeah? Either side.
Fullbacks.
Yeah.
Bit more thought going into this one. Boovy's turned it straight round. So Boovy's gone with White Gavardio. And Bavs has got, hey, I think we need a handshake here because this might be the only one that we get like this. All right, cool. All right.
I think. I mean, I love Ben White. I think he represents everything good about Arsenal. His technical quality isn't talked about enough. People just say he's a kind of solid right back. It's like, actually, when you had that midfield issue against Spurs, I thought it was a world he could play in midfield against Spurs. He's that good.
Yeah,
so, massive fan.
Yeah, I think, look, Ben White, I agree with that. I think he's versatile. And also, I think, look, the right back that you have right now, he's not the same Kyle Walker as 5 years ago. And we saw that at the Euros. He was stinky. I remember that. And I found that kind of... I mean, he was, though. I remember I was at the stadiums and I was watching this guy going, like, what are you doing? And you're a Man City player who's played the highest level when you're struggling. So White, for me, takes the right back. So, and Gavardio, for me, I think he's done it last year, scored quite a few important goals as well, going forwards, defensively very strong. You signed for, what, 70, 60 million pounds?
80 mil, yeah.
Yeah, he's worth that money because he's a very high caliber player. I will say, though, you know, on the left back side, if we see more of Yuri and Timber and more of Calafiori, I think it'll be competitive. But because he's got a season in the bank and those guys don't, I'll give Gavardio the left back slot.
Fair. I agree. I agree with these picks actually, and I'm sure a lot of people at home agree. Let us know in the comments. Wipe your boards, please, Bavs and Boovy, and put your centre back pairings on there now as well, please.
This is very easy.
Let's see if we get to a disagreement.
I want some sense here, though, mate. I want some sense.
I've got a lot of sense. I'll give you 100.
The balance will remain. Vuvi's gone straight in. He's ready. Babs is finishing off.
Spot that, but
This has to be the same as... Oh, come on.
So Vuvi's gone Saliba
Come
Diaz. Babs has gone Saliba Gabriel.
You have to respect football heritage. You have to respect football history. And what Diaz has done since he's come to the Premier League, he's never not won the Premier League title since he moved from Benfica. He's played 4 seasons. He's won every single Premier League available. He's won a Champions League and an FA Cup, and he got to another FA Cup final as well. Off the ball, he's a leader. He's one of the most defensively sound defenders I've ever seen in Premier League history. Hasn't got the record to say he's better than John Terry and Van Dijk. I get that. He's young. But he is miles above Gabriel, and I love Gabriel. I think he's been fantastic for you. But you can't be serious as a football fan and say Gabriel's a better defender than Ruben Diaz. You just can't. You really can't. I think it's slightly short-sighted.
It's a partnership. Centre-backs are a partnership. And I don't think that partnership there is as complementary as these two here. Left-footed, right-footed, works perfectly to a T. We've seen them do it together as well, and do it to a level where Erling Haaland couldn't get a shot against Arsenal. Couldn't get 2 games.
So what did that
once.
defensive partnership achieve in terms of trophies?
Well, we're getting there. You know, Diaz has got the trophies over the board, but there's a lot of players that have got more trophies than Gabriel and Saliba.
So let's do Diaz and Stones. That's surely got more success. Stones, I think, is a better defender than Gabriel as well.
I would not change this partnership for any of your defenders. I think individually you can compare Diaz and Gabriel. Of course you could. But as a partnership, this series, we've seen it be the best in the league. Even now, we've seen it stop the best striker in the world time and time again.
Gvardiol and Ben White don't play together. So it's a theoretical 11 of the best individual players playing in the system with Gvardiol.
No, but I think Gvardiol could suit what Arsenal have. I don't think Diaz would be as good as Gabriel for what Arsenal have. Because Diaz is more similar to Saliba.
You asked me to stay out of this.
I think Diaz is more similar to Saliba. So I don't want 2 similar centre backs. I want an aggressor. I want a guy who's more conservative. I think this. And look, I think Diaz is an amazing player, by the way. But I think as a partnership, I go for my 2 guys.
So if I come to you and I say, mate, right, I'm a footballer, right? Yes. I've come to you, Babs, mate. I've won 4 Premier League titles in a row and a treble, and I'm still not over the age of 30 years old. Yeah. And I'm going in against a guy who's had a solid couple of seasons, getting you second, no trophies ever in his cabinet for Arsenal. With all due respect. He's achieved nothing yet. He might win everything.
Neither is Saliba, but you put him in with half.
Yeah, because I can have a genuine discussion that Saliba in terms of his consistency over John Stones. I think on his day, John Stones is as good as Saliba. I really do believe that. I've not seen Saliba run a Champions League midfield against Inter Milan, but Saliba's consistency, his power off the ball, his lack of injuries is massive. But Diaz is he's a better defender than Gabriel every day of the week.
I think Saliba looks as good because of Gabriel at times. We saw it yesterday in the Champions League game as well. You know, we see this guy rise time and time again from corners and win the header first. And if Saliba does that, it gets mentioned straight after the game. But Gabriel does it. People go, oh, well, Gabriel, but he's gotten his flowers now. Last year, what PFA Team of the Year voted by his peers, it wasn't Diaz who won the league title. It was Gabriel Magalhaes. So most clean sheets, very good defensively.
It might have been a sympathy vote because you obviously came second again.
I think that you are strikers that play against Diaz and Gabriel. I think Gabriel would cause. He's better against Haaland, for example. I think Diaz will struggle against Haaland.
Well, one question each before I move on. One question each.
Yeah.
If we are talking individuals, which was some of Vuvi's point, would it remain Saliba Gabriel?
No, I think individual-wise you give Diaz it.
Okay.
But as a partnership, we've seen this work.
That's what we're doing.
If we're talking partnership,
no, we're not.
But if we are,
it's all theoretical.
This is your question. If we are talking partnership like Babs is, would you agree with
that?
No,
I can't. If it's a partnership, I've got to be biased because the history's on the side of Ruben Diaz and John Stones. Even Ruben Diaz and Akanji. They're winning European Cups.
If history is the main thing, if it's about history and trophies, that I want to make sure Raheem Sterling's in this 11 as well.
All right, we're going to move on. On that note, wipe your boards down. People, let us know in the comment section. This was a disagreement. Saliba and Diaz from Vuvi, Saliba, Gabriel from Bab. Different perspectives, but all quality defenders nonetheless. We've got a midfield free. 2 players are missing going into Sunday from that midfield free, which makes it more interesting. But go ahead and put your free in midfield in. At home, hope you're doing the same. Or thinking about at least.
I know no KDB.
No Odegaard, no KDB.
Who else was City got?
BB straight in again. He's got his 3 down. Babs is on his last
I'm
run.
trying to think of who else was City have there. I got my 2 guys guaranteed, but I'm trying to think. Who else City got? So no KDB. You
can throw in Bernardo, Ilkay Gundogan.
Bernardo. See, if it was Gundogan a couple of years ago, I would have left you throwing him in straight.
Have you got 3 on the board?
Yeah, I got 3.
And you've got 2 on the board.
I'm going to say... Okay, let's go...
I'm walking off the set if Marino's on there.
I'm walking off the
He's
set.
not available
No.
Sunday. He's not available
Yeah,
Sunday.
I'm still
so
walking off
Babs,
the set.
He's
you
not
can't get
available.
that one
Honestly,
in.
he's not available. I was gonna throw an E for Wanyeri, but let's just be sensible.
He's a talent, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and say he's
Got
not.
lines.
You lot ready, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see them. To the cameras, to me, yep. So Boovy's gone Foden, Bernardo and Rodri. Babs has gone Rodri, Silva and Rice.
Yeah.
You've gone all City.
Well, Guardiola's managing this fictional 11 because he's the best manager arguably in the history of football. We can debate that later, but he would pick Foden and Bernardo as the two number 10s, a bit like KDB and David Silva had that role, because Rodri is the best defensive midfielder of a generation. You wouldn't need defensive cover. Obviously, with Arsenal's limitations in midfield, a lack of X factor, a lack of creativity, you need to play Declan Rice, potentially Moreno, Partey all together, because they all aren't world class. Declan Rice needs a lot of help, a lot of hand holding to get to progress the ball through midfield. But this midfield wouldn't need any help. So it's the best midfield by a country mile. PFA Player of the Year, by the way.
Yeah, well, this guy was in the PFA team of the year, Declan Rice, as that position, by the way. And let's not forget, Pep was willing to spend nearly £100 million on that guy. To hold his
that
hand.
wasn't a real transfer bid.
Oh, so it wasn't. Oh, so you got resources.
We went
now.
for Harry Maguire, and it coaxed Man United to spend 80 mil on him. There's a few other examples, and we coaxed you to spend 100 million quid on a guy, Gareth Barry 2.0.
Gareth Barry 2.0.
Yeah, you can play it sideways, 5 yards.
All right. So when Pep
For
wanted
real.
to actually bid £90 million for him, that's fair enough, man.
He wasn't worth.
You
He
know.
was worth about 45 million quid.
Declan Rice, we've seen it, man. He's up there as one of the best in terms of defensively in the world. I think he's better than Rodri defensively in terms of covering space. Rodri's the better player on the ball, but in terms of covering space, I think Rice is just better in terms of tackling, winning the ball back as well. But I put Rodri as a 6 because I think he's a better 6, right? And I put Rice in there for now. If Odegaard was available and KD was available, it could be different. Rice has still got to prove himself as a 6 more to compete with Rodri. But in the midfield here, I think he has to get in the side. I think he offers too much quality ease. In a big game, if I'm going to the Bernabeu away, I would not want that midfield. I want this midfield here with Declan Rice and Bernardo Silva, who I think is most similar to Martin Odegaard and complement the thing. I think Phil Foden in midfield was a disgrace, by the way, because PFA Player of the Year, but when he came for his country at the Euros, where did he go?
I mean, I can address it. I think it's really unfair. I think
Really
it's really unfair. It is
Was
because
it
you're
unfair
talking
on
about
Saka and Bellingham?
Yeah, and I've said that in streams as well when I watched it. When how Saka was limited, I thought it was a disgrace. In terms of how Harry Kane was limited, his decision not to play. Cole Palmer played barely any minutes. Ivan Toney. There's so many examples.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit hollow to have a go at Phil Foden, who worked very, very hard throughout the tournament. Again, in back-to-back Euros, got England to a Euros final doing defensive work. Yes, he wasn't good enough on the ball. It's a little bit hollow to blame any England player based on the manager we had, in my opinion.
I'm not blaming him, but all the guys you named there, Saka contributed to the Euros with a very important goal. Even Tony off the bench contributed in a very
Phil
important
Foden did
cameo. Everyone,
work off the
all
ball.
the guys contributed there, apart from Foden.
That's just not true.
I don't think he contributed in any way. Every time he went off, we scored a goal.
If you
and
played
if you're
football-
going to be named, by the way, the PFA Player of the Year, not Young Player of the Year, the best player in the best league in the world, and you can't even score a goal or get an assist, or forget that, turn up in a good
this is
game.
Twitter chat, man. It's
No,
Twitter
but
chat.
I'm not
With all
even
due
talking about
respect.
GNA. There's players that didn't score an assist in the Euros that are more important. Foden, for me, struggled for his country and playing centrally as well, by the way. Every year we hear about Foden, not a right winger, not a left winger. Well, this time he was a 10.
It's not true.
And he still struggled. Cole Palmer
not
came off the
true.
bench, had a bigger impact as well.
It's not
I think in this
true.
midfield three here, Foden would not come with Bernardo Silva or Gundogan in my eyes.
If you work hard off the ball and you work really, really hard, completely egoless performance in the Euros, you just won the PFA, you won the Champions League the season before, and you work so hard off the ball. Yes, on the ball he wasn't good enough, but if you are any part of a side that starts, can I finish this? Sorry, any part of a side that gets to a Champions League final and you play every minute essentially of the tournament, to say that he didn't contribute anything is incredibly disrespectful and inaccurate to football. If you're part of an 11 in modern football, you're the left back. If Tony Hibbert played every minute and Everton got to a final, he still contributed massively. He didn't have the greatest tournament, of course not, but every single player for England, including Mark Gay, he didn't have the stats. Load of players didn't have the stats, but Phil Foden massively contributed towards England off the ball. There's no question about it.
Yeah, the way you're talking about Foden is like he's Tony Hibbert off the ball. I thought he was on the ball quality. What's this off the ball stuff?
But that's Southgate's.
Do you know,
do you watch
I
any
watched
of the
games, but
tournament?
my point was the guys that were limited that you mentioned, Saka, still found a way to impact games. Cole Palmer still found a way to impact games.
So many games.
If you're if you're the best player in the Premier League, I expect to see a bit more impact. And Jude Bellingham as well. He was everyone suffered in that team, but they still found a way on the odd occasion to break through
Steven
that.
Gerrard, who Frank Lampard,
Yeah, but
Wayne
that's
Rooney.
over and done with. I expect more from the PFA Player of the Year than
It's
to
not even
go.
done with football history. Football history is a massive part of any narrative, any video
Yeah, but
you do in the
of
future.
course it is.
I'm
It's about
gonna
football history.
cut in now because
go for it.
there's no way you two are gonna reach an agreement when one's trying to back Foden, one's trying to back Rice. That's the only difference in the midfield threes. You've both gone Rodri and Silva. Again, it goes out there to the guys and girls at home comment section. Give us your thoughts as well. And let's get into the final third, the attacking three. bearing in mind who you've picked in other positions and whatnot, obviously I'm building your combined 11s here in the background. Pick your attacking three: striker, left-sided forward, right-sided forward.
Cool.
Bit more thought from Boovy for this one. Had it, oh God. Babs raising, satin, writing again. Boovy ready to go? Showing his hand at the same time. So we've got, okay. We'll wait for Babs. So Boovy's gone with Grealish, Haaland and Saka.
I like that a lot, yeah.
And Babs has gone with Doku, Haaland and Saka. Okay, so one difference, and the difference happens to both be a City player. So I mean, this will be a pretty interesting one, because you're both going to give your arguments for one Doku and one.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the lack of
left winger right now. Yeah, of course, man. Look, I think Doku's the more he develops under Pep and the more he gets Premier League experience, I expect a very high caliber player who thrives in tight spaces, who's got a lot of pace, goal threat as well. He's a maverick as well, you know, you can make something out of nothing. I think Grealish, you know, because we've got Bukayo Saka and because you've got Bernardo Silva behind him, we don't need that ball security as much when you've got Rodri and Rice as well in my midfield. So with that there, I think Grealish's impact on the games isn't as big as Doku. And I think in those big games, to provide like a game-changing moment, I think Doku's better. And of course, Bukayo Saka, Erling Haaland. And I can't believe I spelled Haaland wrong, by the way, so wrong with me there. But yeah, I think
too much Twitter, man. You got to get off Twitter.
Yeah, no, I put two A's down, and I was like, hang on a minute, this
is that what you
sense.
raised?
I had to raise that. I was like, hang on a minute, bugging out there. But no, listen, yeah, I think those two there work complementary as well. And I think that front three there is more balanced than that. And I think in a big game,
no, Doku is not more balanced than Jack Grealish. I mean, it's literally the opposite of what you're saying.
I feel like these three here would combine better. I think in a big game, the threats. Imagine in the Bernabeu where you got pace of Doku.
If you were a manager, you wouldn't trust Doku to start this game. If you were a manager, you wouldn't trust Doku to start this game.
Last year, Grealish wasn't starting for you guys.
Yeah,
Over Doku,
I didn't agree with that. And Grealish started the biggest games in Man City's history, arguably the game in Istanbul, when he was absolutely. I mean, also the one where he scored a fantastic goal against you lot when we battered you at the Etihad. So he's a massive part of the City success. And I think he just. Look, I like your opinion about Doku. I just think he's very, very, very raw. He still makes too many of the wrong decisions. We can obviously debate Grealish's numbers, his statistics. I find all that a little bit boring sometimes. But his total football play, his total contribution to the side is the most balanced out of people we've just said.
No, I would say, listen, if we got a fully formed Raheem Sterling, I think he'd have a chance. If we get him firing to the level he's at City, even Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Martinelli, Trossard, I'd still have over Jack Grealish.
Maybe we do this again for the return fixture, and obviously there'll be a good few months in between some of these players to do what.
Am I invited back on if you're 10 points behind?
You're invited back on, don't worry, my brother.
We won't be 10 points behind though.
Let me go through the combined 11s each. So obviously I'm going to start with Boovies as City at the home team. He went with Ederson in goal, White and Gvardiol the fullbacks, Saliba, Diaz the centre-back pairing, Rodri, Silva and Foden in the midfield, Haaland up top with Saka, Grealish either side, and Bavs, the Arsenal rep, has gone with Raya in goal, White, Gvardiol, fullbacks, Saliba, Gabriel the centre-backs, a midfield three of Rodri, Rice and Silva, up front Haaland, Saka and Doku either side of him. So that's the combined 11s of Bavs and Boovy. And I've got two more questions before we end up wrapping the show. Have we hit 1,000 likes though? That's one question to the people out there, the community. Make sure we hit 1,000 likes right now. Go show some love to Boovy, his channel, the club as well. Go show some love to Bavs, his channel, doing big things. Last two questions. I'm going to try to keep these short and sweet. Not much of a debate, but Boovy, I'm going to start with you. Who's the bigger loss this Sunday? Odegaard or Kevin De Bruyne?
Odegaard, because we can replace De Bruyne. Bernardo can come in, Ilkay Gundogan. Odegaard, I mean, your whole world shattered when he pulled up. Do you know what I mean? Your whole world shattered. I saw Arsenal fans crying in the streets outside the Girls' Bakery in Finsbury Park.
Oh, you saw me.
But ultimately, you should have more depth than relying on Odegaard to play 50 games a season, same as Saliba.
I look at our team and I think I agree Odegaard's a bigger miss, and that's mainly because we've not seen Arsenal as much without Odegaard. So we could surprise people. You could go and beat City without Odegaard on Sunday and people won't say that. But in terms of Kevin De Bruyne, these guys have done it without him before. They've done it half a year. They've won league titles without him playing most of the season. So KDB is a very, obviously, amazing player. But I think with Odegaard's impact in the side and the fact that we've not seen Arsenal without Martin, I think there's a bigger miss right now. But at the same time, I think I trust the players that we have available. I've got no excuses either. I'm not crying about injuries. I think, look, it is what it is. You accept it. We've got no Marino or Odegaard, but we're going to make it work.
You weren't crying, I meant other Arsenal fans.
No, it's fine, man. I'm actually excited to see who can step up, you know. Can you get the best out of Ethan Nwaneri in certain games, maybe on this game here? Can you get the best out of Havertz there? Could you play Saka inside at times as well? There's a lot of
Who
options
starts,
there.
sorry, out of intro? I just don't know. Who starts?
I think, you know, we're going to go for the same lineup that we had against Spurs. So Trossard plays there for now.
Yep.
And again, like I said, Havertz up top. Because Jesus, for me, is not the striker I want right now. But in certain games like Leicester, Bolton, I think Ethan can give a go there when we got more of the ball. But in a big game like this, which is a lot about off the ball, I'd go Trossard and Havertz.
Fair. Well, you both agree, and I agree. And I'm sure a lot of you agree out there, unless you're trying to heap more pressure on Arsenal. And yeah, I get it. Last question, and I don't think we're going to agree here. But like I said with the last one, we try to keep it short and sweet. There'll be a little debate there. Let me start with you this time, Babs. Who's going to have the better season come May? Bukayo Saka or Phil Foden?
Bukayo Saka. Because I think Arsenal are going to win the league title. And I think with the Premier League title, this season, 2024-25, Arsenal going for the league titles.
Hurry up. Been waiting 20 years.
And I'm going for it. It's fine, man. It's fine. I'm not sure about you waiting for 20 years. You know what I mean? Where were you in 20 years ago? Where was City 20 years ago?
In the Premier League, and you were winning the Premier League 20 years ago. That's what I just said.
So I mean,
Long time
you've seen how it is. So 20 years can change a lot. But I think in terms of this year, Bukayo Saka, I think he'll turn up more in the Champions League, like he's done in the Euros for England, you know, even though he wasn't platformed correctly. And I think he'll do it more in the Premier League as well, score more important goals. And I ultimately still believe that Arsenal will win the league title this year. I'm saying it with chest. And I think Bukayo will then have the better season. And also with Phil Foden, we still don't know what his best position is at this point. For England, it was right winger. Was it left winger? Was it number 10? Bukayo is undisputably one of the best right wingers of world football, and I have to debate that.
Dare I ask, do you agree?
Well, in my dreams, I'm going on a date with Margot Robbie, and it's just not happening, is it? Honestly, Arsenal have to start with basics. Mourinho came to this league, and his first trophy was the League Cup. You know, Guardiola came to this league, and his first trophy was the League Cup against Arsenal, of course. Arteta has to start with this bunch of players. I know he won the FA Cup, it was the COVID Cup. He has to start with the League Cup. Can Arsenal win the Carling Cup, the Milk Cup? That's where we have to start with Arsenal. You have to be sensible. You have to build a platform to success. At the moment, this Arsenal side have got zero experience of winning anything except when they used to play for Man City, a few of them. They have to start off with the League Cup first. I think you'll definitely win the League Cup.
Yeah, I'll take the League Cup, but what was Jurgen Klopp's first trophy? Champions League. You know, so
I don't know. Yeah.
There's been other examples of top managers doing better things as well. Antonio Conte, you know, look at him and league title as well. So I'm going for the league title.
The League Cup's a good league.
It is a good little cup, and for clubs like Man United, I think it's amazing for them, right? But we are not Man United. We're the Arsenal.
Just for context on that question, I assume you think Foden's better at this moment in time.
I mean,
it's hesitation.
There's just no debate, and we can't bring up England form. It's
no debate.
Completely inaccurate. Well, if you win a Champions League and you win PFA Player of the Year, that obviously puts you on a higher pedestal than Saka.
What about you right now? Do you, because that is a fair point. Yeah. Right now,
I think Bukayo's a better player.
Okay.
I think Bukayo, and I say that because when you put them in environments where they're not platformed to do well, i.e. England, they're in the same side there, by the way, one always does better than the other. So when they put in Man City and you've got KDB and you've got Erling Haaland, of course you're going to score a lot of goals and get a lot of assists. But when you've got England, Gareth Southgate,
why can't you give club examples instead of international examples?
But even for clubs, Saka's scored goals and assists as well.
David Beckham's had a worse England legacy than Phil Foden. Steven Gerrard's had a worse England legacy than Phil Foden. Phil Foden's got England to 2 finals. He's got England to 2 finals. He's been part of both sides. The Euro 2020.
I wouldn't be sure of that.
He was part of both sides. He played both tournaments massively, and so did Saka. But ultimately, you've got to use club examples. Saka's won the COVID Cup. Congratulations.
No, but I'm not talking about the FA Cup. I'm talking about when it mattered for the most for the country. Yeah. Saka scored the goal.
What about when it mattered for Arsenal when he came second back-to-back season?
He scored important goals in the Champions League. He scored, I think, the most games, winning goals for Arsenal last year, winning the most points for us last year. So I wouldn't even
most points, but he came second. No clubs ever capitulated in the history of the Premier League to Arsenal's extent in the last 2 years. It's a massive record,
man. But I can give you 115 reasons why Saka is a better player than Phil.
And we'd be here for 115 more minutes. But debate over, superfan debate. The face-off is over, people. Before we do wrap it up, Boovie, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, check us out on the club. Hopefully you'll be on soon as well. Yeah,
I'll be back again. Yeah,
we'll see you soon. Obviously,
yeah. Nice. Love for the invite, Babs. Where can they find you?
Babs14 on YouTube. Stay away from the Twitter, and that's all good.
Stay away from the Twitter. Infamous Babs on Twitter. Alright, people. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section below. Obviously, give us your thoughts on the debates, the combined 11. I'm glad I got that handshake in at Wat Gavardia because there was no other agreements after that. But what did you agree with? What did you disagree with? Show some love to the individual channels and make sure you show some love right here. Make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on, and look out for all the content coming over the next few days, weeks, months, and years ahead. Come on, love for the love.